Everybody, today is February 2nd, 2023. It is a blustery, cold Thursday morning here in the Mountain State. I am Heather McChesney with the Higher Education Policy Commission, West Virginia Higher Education Policy Commission. We are representing the College for West Virginia, CFWV. I am joined here with my coworker and friend, Jair Leister, who is also with the Higher Education Policy Commission, CFWV, and also he is representing West Virginia Gear Up today because one of the tools that we are going to be sharing that was developed today was developed partially by West Virginia Gear Up, as well as some of our other Gear Up partners around the nation. Today, in 30 minutes, we're going to try to squeeze it into 30 minutes because this is a very huge topic. We're going to be talking about how to continue to build a college-going culture and some of the tools that are found on CFWV, how to continue to do that. So bear with us. As always, if you have questions, comments, something you just are dying to talk about, it, throw it in the chat. JR has visibility to that. I do not right now. So, we kind of like to keep an open forum as we go. So without further ado, I'm going to advance to the next slide. What is a college-going culture? It's really important that we say this from the jump. When we say the word college, we say that with a small c. College is any type of post-secondary training, certification, education that happens, any type, sorry, my dog, that happens after that high school diploma. So, our 2-year schools, our 4-year schools, our career tech centers, our apprenticeship programs, anything that happens beyond that high school diploma. So I want to stress that first and foremost. UC Berkeley happens to define college-going culture as the environment, attitudes, and practices in a school in the community that encourage students and families to obtain the information, tools, and perspective to enhance access to and success in post-secondary education. What does that mean? Going above and beyond that high school diploma needs to be the norm, not the exception. We want all of our students here in West Virginia to go beyond that high school diploma. We want that to be the norm, not the exception any longer. And to do that, we really need to center around these 3 key values. That's the appreciation of academics. Learning is cool. We need to appreciate the idea of being lifelong learners. The desire to succeed. You want to keep doing more. It's that idea that we want our next generation to be better than what we are, right? And the drive to attend college and become lifelong learners. I think those other 2 key elements are what push that third one forward. And that these values need to be presented for all of our students, specifically for our traditionally underserved students that are normally underserved by higher education. And guys, this looks a lot like our West Virginia students, low income, first gen, minority, low achieving students. And it's very important to say that creating a college going culture isn't creating a list, a to-do list and checking it off. Stop it. This is ongoing. It's continuous. West Virginia has a goal that, and it's in the next 7 years, guys, that 60% of our workforce needs to have a certificate or a degree to be workforce ready, to be career ready. Because right now, we're not there yet. 60% of us in 7 years, because only 1/3 of us have that associate's degree right now or higher, or have the credentials. In a state that's getting older and not getting younger, we've got to work on that. Anything you want to add to that, JR, before we advance?
I'll just say, in some of our most rural areas of our state, obviously, even those college going rates and those attainment rates are even that much lower. That's specifically why we targeted the 11 counties that we targeted with our Gear Up grant, is that we know we have these sections and segments of populations, these pockets of population throughout our state that that college going culture just hasn't been the norm. It hasn't been necessary up until now. And we've seen that shift over the past, decade or so, that if they're not attaining some form of credential above and beyond a high school diploma, it's that much more challenging to find, good work. work that actually rewards them for their efforts. So thank you.
So the very first step when we're talking about college culture, college going culture, is we need to assess where we are. And every last one of our school communities is going to be somewhere on that spectrum. And you're going to move up and down that spectrum as time goes by. So I very much implore you all, individually or with your colleagues or with your leadership teams, take a moment to take what we have a college going culture assessment to see where your school community is excelling and where there might be room for improvement. JR, if you can drop that link in the chat, I'd really appreciate that. We know that every school is doing something really fantastic to promote their college going culture, but we also know that every school out there has room to stretch and grow because there is always going to be continuous movement. We also know that, sorry, just one second, I need to move that. Just like our classes, our students change from year to year, so does our cultural dynamic. And it's our job to continue to move that dial forward and make different adjustments from year to year, but to also make that same access available to every student from year to year. So I want to stress, this isn't just the counselor's job. This isn't just our administrator's job. This isn't just our leadership team's job. So I want you to consider maybe even asking some of your parents to take parts of this assessment. Ask a student, ask your staff members, ask your faculty, get a group together, because everybody's perception might be a little bit different through different parts of the assessment, but see where you are. And then you can see what areas you really need to work on and what parts on the back end of CFWV. When I say the back end, I mean our resources that we're going to talk about, you might really need to dial in on more or less than. So that's something that on your downtime, because we've got a lot of that I really would suggest that you start doing. And we have that available for you guys. And if you want to see your results, I can gladly send them to you so that you have a PDF of them. So West Virginia Gear Up they didn't create, but they borrowed and they've maximized it. This tool that's designed to help schools navigate and work towards moving the dial on their own college going cultures. And in the community, the Gear Up community, we call this the Change Makers Pyramid. And it's used like building blocks to help us evaluate, identify, implement, practice, and create actionable strategies and tactics to help move progress forward in regard to building our college going culture within our programs, our schools, and our communities. But the great part about it is not only is it building blocks you can move in and out of them, move in and out of these different areas, because it's continuous. We're always going to have to go and move in and out of these areas. Today, because this is such a huge topic, we have a very limited amount of time, we're going to be spending most of our time in that awareness block down at the bottom, because that's kind of where our foundations are, and it's a really good starting point. And for the most part, most of the tools that we have on CFWV and the resources that we have created around college and career exploration and college access, kind of they sit really neatly and nicely in that awareness block and start to move towards the mobilization, which feeds into the collective impact, which promotes sustainability, right? So this will help you in your schools, and it's going to provide you with more visibility, with access, with activities, and really stress the importance of why we do what we do. Anything you want to add there, JR? I know I'm talking a lot. I don't want to take anything away.
No, you hit it perfectly. And I think awareness is the place to start, because it, like you said, it's the foundation. Everything else stems from building the awareness first. So,
great. So with awareness, and if this is all new to you, the way we're breaking it down, don't be overwhelmed. Don't feel overwhelmed. If you're working solo, if you're going to be working with a small team, just know that awareness is the beginning. And right now, we're becoming aware. We're enlightened. We're having an aha moment. So when you're building this awareness around a college going culture, I want you to focus on 3 goals. 3 is kind of the sweet spot here: importance, visibility, and access. Importance. Why is college, that idea of college, going above and beyond that high school diploma, why is this important to career preparation and workforce readiness? Well, we know that it's supporting that state goal that we have. Everything we do is supporting that state goal that we have of creating a career-ready workforce, right? Visibility. We need to make college readiness activities, topics, and ideas visible. We've got to see it. Access, provide students and families with greater and more access to information. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into each of those goals and then show you some different tools that CFWV and resources that we have that will help you with each of those goals. So the first one is importance. Establishing the importance of college and career readiness. We've got to alert the school community that there's something worth paying attention to, and then convince them that there's something in it for them. Why should we do this? Because you're going to benefit from it. We've got to create buy-in for the most part. Jerry, you want to elaborate a little bit more on importance here?
I mean, we rely pretty heavily on that return on investment. When we talk about, hey, we realize, going to college means putting in 2 years of your life or 4 years of your life, or how much time of your life, and dollar amount they invest into the tuition and fees. But really, and that argument to some degree has lost its footing a little bit, but I still think it rings true that, it's an investment in yourself. It's an investment in your future, and the returns that you're going to see on that investment over the course of your lifetime is going to pay extreme dividends. Just we see the unemployment rates, the differences between your education level. We see the income levels, the difference. We see the health and wellness factors over the course of your lifetime. I mean, there's just so many things that going to college pays dividends for, on a multitude of levels, and trying to make sure that students and families completely and totally understand those different areas.
So do me a favor, if the participants that are here, drop in the comment box some different ways that you're promoting buy-in, the importance of college and career readiness at your schools right now. I can't see the box, but you can, JR. Well, think about it for the moment. Something to think about. Some of the tools that CFWV and the resources that we have, we do have a social media toolkit that is usable, that you can use to help, that stresses the importance of college. It does have graphics that are available. It has pre-done messaging that's available for you. A lot of it is geared towards our financial aid information that's there. We have the College is Necessary and Worth It flyers that you can find in our college Going Culture Toolkit, which you can find on our Gear Up website. We can drop that in the chats here in a minute as well. If you've not used the HEPC Explorer data portal, you need to get on there. College going rates, they're down nationwide. They're down in the state. They're down in our counties. A lot of our schools are down. The data doesn't lie. If that doesn't show some importance of, we need to kind of get it in gear, I don't know what wouldn't. Our FAFSA completion rates, you can see where your school is on the, how you can move the dial on that on Connect. And I think it's really important that even our middle schools and our elementary schools pay attention to that as well. You all are feeder schools into our high schools. The earlier we start educating our younger kids, even on just the very basics of financial aid, why that return on investment is important. Yes, college has a big dollar sign behind it, but if we start kind of pulling that stigma out from under it at a younger age, by the time they get to high school, there's a better understanding of it. So I think even when it comes to FAFSA, educating at a younger age, just break it down into the vocabulary that they understand. We have every printable resource that you can imagine on Connect. All of our documentation can be PDF'd, emailed, and printed for you right there. On CFWV, our educators, you guys know this, you can create accounts. Our parents can create accounts. It very much establishes the importance of education, of higher education. And then our school you guys have communication systems out there, whether it's call out systems, texting systems, posting things on Schoology, however, your social media channels, you guys can literally copy word for word everything that we put out from CFWV. You can share our newsletters. You can share our reels that we do. You can share our social media posts. Everything that CFWV puts out there, share it out there so that that information is getting out there far and wide.
Yeah, and I'll just add, Ches, that just like everything else, the information that we're passing along, do a quick fact check. So make sure it's coming from a reliable source. CFWV is a great resource. HEPC, those are great places to go to because we've already produced a lot of the content for you, and it's going to be accurate because it's coming from the folks who deal in this work every day. There's too much misinformation out there sometimes regarding financial aid and cost of college. Melora Brock chatted that she exposes students to college tours and participation in the College Application Exploration Week, and a lot of factors.
That's great.
Go into that. So great job, Melora.
So we started a little bit late, but I'll say we probably have about 10 minutes, just giving us a time check, JR. So goal number 2 is increase visibility. Increasing visibility for college readiness initiatives keeps college planning in the forefront of the mind. So research tells us, it shows us that visual and environmental cues can subconsciously shift behaviors. So basically, the more we see it, the more we think about it, the more we think about it, the more we do it. The more we do it, the better we're going to be at it. The better we're going to be at it, the more we're going to succeed at it. The more we succeed at it, we're probably going to share it with more people, right? So, and if we're sharing it with more people, that basically means word of mouth. So when I think about that, that's a sibling telling another sibling. We're paying it forward, right? That's culture. Right there. That's how talk about building a culture. That's when things become legacy. Our families create education legacies. So visibility, I think, is one of the absolute easiest ways to build culture. If you just keep showing it, you model behavior, you literally put displays out. I think it's the easiest to explain. I think it's the easiest, obviously, to see. In CFWV, we have a bazillion tools out there for this. Just by participating in all of our statewide initiatives promotes visibility and promotes that culture, and it's contagious. National Colors Day participation, that's basically, and we promote this. I can't remember what month it is though, because I think we have like 2 of them a year. You basically wear your alma mater, the colors of your alma mater, and a kid's going to ask you, what's that all about? Well, let's talk about the college I went to. Let's talk about the 2-year program I went to. Let's talk about, the certification I got at the Career Tech Center before I even went off to college. College Application Exploration Week. Laura, you talked about that. We had fantastic results the last several years. We might be moving it to a month. I don't know. We're going to find out soon, which is fantastic. College Decision Day is coming up. And I love it, even when our schools bring our middle schools up to celebrate College Decision Day for our seniors, because you know what? That's creating visibility for our younger students, so they have something to look forward to and get excited about when they're seniors in high school. Or even when our 9th graders get called to the gymnasium so that they can cheer on the seniors that they're making a big to-do because they've made a decision on where they're going to college. Visibility for our younger folks creates the culture, right?
Yeah.
We do have, sorry, JR, go ahead.
Those entrance hallways with your pictures of your seniors in
Yes.
college or program that they're going to go to after graduation. So
decorating the doors, doing all the things. There's a first gen day. Our colleges celebrate that, but you can pump that up even at the K-12 level. You could be the first student, the first person in your family to go to college. How exciting is that? CFWV, there are a map of all the colleges. It's in the culture toolkit as well that you can hang. And every time one of your students happens to go, enroll in one of those schools, you could thumbtack it. See if you can get a kid at every one of the schools in the state. How neat would that be? Social media posts. You could share our social media posts. We would absolutely love if when you guys have college or career exploration readiness events, if you sent them to us so that we could upload them on our community calendar. Talk about visibility. Culture, it starts at the school, it goes to the community, it goes to the county. but West Virginia is building a culture as well. Financial aid resources in your classroom. They don't have to just live in the counselor's wing or the counselor's suites. Let's put them all over our building. And then guys, all of the college and career lessons that we have on CFWV, they promote visibility because your students are doing them in class, and they don't have to happen just in the advisory class. They don't have to happen just when the counselor's coming in. These can be cross-curricular. These can happen in the English classroom, the social studies classroom, the STEM classroom, all across the board.
We've had a lot of schools, especially our Gear Up schools, that have started doing the yard signs and for seniors. So leading up to the school building, your drive and your entryway. But like Heather just touched on there a moment ago, guys, don't try to do this alone. Recruit your team, get those folks around you. You can't be a one-stop shop, one person in a school building that has all this information and resources. You need to find a way to bring others into the fold and help share this information out through a lot of different folks.
All right. So the third and final goal is providing access to information. If you build it, they will come. And, we've got to remember, you've got to build it for everybody. It's access, it's equal access to absolutely everybody, especially those that have traditionally been underserved, which West Virginia fits the bill on almost all of that. Research demonstrates that increasing students and families' level of college knowledge is a critical factor in encouraging post-secondary enrollment and success. Therefore, schools should aim to teach and convey information about post-secondary options and processes, just like they would core subjects and sports. So we're also, it's just as important. It leads back into that number one goal. It's just as important as everything else, right? The more information that they know, the more information they have access to, the better they're going to understand it. You've got to meet people where they are. You've got to present the information in ways that they understand it, which means you might have to do a building block approach. But you also have to keep in mind that a lot of our students have not had prior knowledge of this. And you might have kids that have been exposed to it at a younger age, and you might have kids that are senior that have no idea where to start. And those processes, like the kids now, what I'm seeing when I'm in the schools, kids are now becoming better acquainted with options, but the processes, they don't know. So that flip-flops back and forth like a pendulum as well. But we've got tons of resources to help with access and information. We have a 101 for just about everything: application 101, financial aid 101, college 101, writing 101. We're always working on 101s. I'm going to start to try to work on a middle school 101 that helps with that transition to high school. We do have the enrollment process that we send to our kids, our seniors, via the texting program, which leads us to the texting program. Text for Success for our seniors in high school. We have all the colleges affordable flyers. We have parent, student, educator newsletters. If your parents aren't on those, get them registered on that. You can do that at the very top of CFWV, where the email icon is. Your students, your educators, your parents can all enroll and opt in through that. Like I said, we have career and college exploration activities on CFWV. There are programs of major exploration activities on CFWV. We have a campus visit toolkit. You want to talk about providing access. That's a great one. Studies show the more you get kids on a campus or even virtual visits, the better off you are. We do have virtual visits for middle school students coming up in March. I talked about on the counselor's call yesterday. So be prepared to see those, the registration for that hit your inbox soon. We have financial aid workshop toolkits, college fair participation. Don't be one of our high schools that doesn't participate in the college fair. They're widely popular. Our students get access to almost every school in the state that participates in that. Our CFWV usage, it's the one-stop shop. Everything you need is there. We have CFWV roadmaps that literally pave the way for kids on what they need to be doing step by step for financial aid, for applications, for working towards their PEP from 8th grade all the way to their senior year. all of CFWV and everything we do in student affairs is the access to information. We could go on forever on goal 3.
So I dropped 2 links in the chat earlier for you. The first one is the online college going culture assessment, which Heather said, if you complete it, we get the information. We can share that out with you if you'd like. There's also the link to the toolkit that we're talking about. We pulled a lot of this information from. And what I would do with that is really sit down, build your small team around you, because that awareness piece is going to look different to every different type of person. So try to recruit a parent to take the awareness portion of the college going culture assessment, to have a student complete it, an administrator, yourself, a classroom teacher, because it's going to look different to everyone, because you may think your awareness is, here, and a student or a parent walking through the door may not see the same thing that you're looking at. So.
Yeah, so like JR said, this comes from our college going toolkit, and we thank West Virginia Gear Up for that. Building that positive college going culture, it takes time. It takes the strategic plan, just like the strategic plan you do for your building. I think this should be intertwined with that, in my personal and professional opinion. It also takes collaboration, buy-in from a lot of people within your community. Don't try to do it alone. Today was just a very brief introduction. It's going to take time to explore the toolkit that we just gave you a snapshot of. Within that toolkit, there is a workbook that you can work through your ideas with. There are some additional resources, so definitely take a look at that, and how your community might benefit from moving further up, around, through, and you can go all the way through this change makers pyramid, because we only skimmed the foundation. If there's any questions or comments, now would be a great time. Here's our contact information for you. This takes a lot of work, and this, quite frankly, this toolkit, that pyramid, is what drives the work that we do every day in our office. So us trying to narrow it down in 30 minutes for you guys was a lot, but we wanted to give you an idea that it is manageable. It is something that can be done, and give you little snippets of how to do it step by step.
I shared in the chat. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in. Otherwise, you can always feel free to email us later on. We're happy to follow up in any way we can, provide any tips, resources, next steps, however we can help. And obviously, like Heather said, we love to come out and participate in events when we can. We're only a handful of folks in our division, but we spend a lot of times out in schools and helping with as many college readiness and preparation events as we possibly can. So.
And on the homepage of CFWV, halfway down the page, there is a link that you can request us or one of our colleagues to join you at events. And if our schedule permits, we'll be there. Thank you all for your time. We managed to do this in just 30 minutes, even with our late start. So I appreciate you bearing with us today. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday.